Strange Shadows, a Clark Ashton Smith podcast.
Between the sun's departure and return, the silver death had fallen upon Euros. Its advent, however, had been foretold in many prophecies, both immemorial and recent. Astrologers had said that this mysterious malady, heretofore unknown on Earth, would descend from the great star, Achenar, which presided balefully over all the lands of the southern continent of Zothique, and having sealed the flesh of a myriad men with its bright metallic pallor, the plague would still go onward in time and space, borne by the dim currents of ether to other worlds. Dire was the silver death, and none knew the secret of its contagion or the cure. Swift as the desert wind, it came into Euros from the devastated realm of Tassoon, overtaking the very messengers who ran by night to give warning of its nearness. Those who were smitten felt an icy, freezing cold, an instant rigor, as if the outermost gulf had breathed upon them. Their faces and bodies whitened strangely, gleaming with a wan luster, and became stiff as long-dead corpses, all in an interim of minutes.
Greetings, friends, and welcome to Season 4, Episode 7 of Strange Shadows, the Clark Ashton Smith podcast. The voice you just heard was friend of the show, Simon Frazier Nash, reading the opening to today's story, The Isle of the Torturers. I am one of your hosts, Rob Poyton.
And I'm the other one, Tim Mendes. Yes, we're into full-on Smithian grimness territory here today, aren't we? Yes.
It's extremely grim. And I was saying earlier, we'll talk about that when we get into the publication history.
Indeed. Yeah.
Before we do get into the publication history, we just wanted to say again a quick thank you to everyone who came along, took part in and helped out at the Innsmouth Literary Festival 25 just a couple of weeks back. A splendid time was had by all.
Yeah, it was a very full packed day as usual, so we'd like to thank all of the people who participated, all of our guests and performers, and all the people who helped out and all that kind of business as well.
And speaking of conferences, let us remind you again of an excellent event coming up January the 10th, 2026 over in Auburn. It's the Clark Ashton Smith Conference organised by our good friend Niels, which is going to be a day of Smithonia. Is that a word?
If it isn't, it should be. Smithonia. I like it.
And that's being held at the Carnegie Library in Auburn, which is the one that Smith used, of course. And there's a plethora of guests, including Mr. S.T. Joshi. So, of course, we'll put a link up to that in the show notes below.
Yeah, isn't Ron Hilger going as well?
He is. Actually, you've just reminded me. I just wanted to read something out. Well, there's two things with Niels. First of all, I'd like to thank him for sending a package over to me, a mysterious package arrived in the post, wrapped in oilskins, and with a rather colourful ribbon bound around it.
Mm.
Now, included in that are two books, one of which will directly relate to this podcast. I have in my talons a copy of Weird Tailors, which is Essays on Robert E. Howard and Others by Bobby Deary. Looking forward to getting stuck into that. And more pertinent to Strange Shadows, I have To Worlds Unknown, The Letters of Clark Ashton Smith, Donald Wandry, Howard Wandry, and R.H. Barlow.
Nice.
Yeah, I've had a little dip into it already, and there's some stuff in here we're going to be covering in our bonus episodes, I'm sure.
Yeah, we're getting a nice little collection of these between us, because we've got both volumes of Dawnwood Spire, Eccentric Impractical Devils with Derleth, the one with Samuel Ludman, and now that. So we're getting a nice little collection of these letters, aren't we?
We're building up a library, aren't we?
Mm.
And I just want to mention this as well, because not only did Niels kindly send those books, but he sent one or two other goodies as well, including some things from the Robert E. Howard Day in Texas. And also contained in that package was a Ziploc bag with what looked like some fragments of stone or brick in them. And the accompanying note said this: "The brick bits are from the recently demolished house that stood on the site of the Gaylord house where Smith was born. It's featured in the Emperor of Dreams documentary. I'm sure it's not brick from the actual old house, but it's great fun to pretend. How marvellous is that?
That's great. Yeah.
In my mind, this is bricks from the house where Smith was born. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, stick to it. Yeah, absolutely. Who's going to correct you? You know, how are they going to prove it? Carbon dating or some shit? I don't know.
Exactly. Thanks for that, Niels. That was a lovely little surprise. And just going back to that Ron Hilger connection, Niels also told us this recently. I met up with Ron Hilger yesterday, and he did a show and tell of a small portion of his vast collection. Most of his collection is either in storage for safety from California wildfires or in boxes because he is moving. But what was still unboxed was incredible. Just about every Arkham House, Gnome Press, Centipede Press, Donald M. Grant, etc. book possible, plus, of course, multiple copies of original Smith stuff. He's allowed me to borrow these rocks for the conference, and there's a photo of some rocks in with the email. Right is a very light chalky rock that's an example of the kind that Smith used to carve. Left is a rock from Crater Ridge. Ron lugged a backpack full of good examples down from the ridge, killing his back.
Blimey, that's dedication to the cause, isn't it?
That is. So that's great news. So if you go to that conference, you'll be seeing a lot of original Smith stuff and some of those rocks as well.
Yeah. I've just got from Destiny of the Daleks, Tom Baker, when he opens the scanner, goes, oh, look, rocks. I'm just, I don't know why that doesn't, Tom Baker's fruity voice just popped into my head.
Rocks in a box.
Rocks in a box. Yeah.
Okay, and just one last thing before we get into the story. The Innsmouth forum is now up and running. I won't go into the saga again of my various Facebook problems, but long story short, I've set up a forum which I'm hoping is going to be a focal point for discussion on weird fiction, weird film, literature, music, events, reviews, opinions, and no doubt some very bad puns as well. So do take a pop over to that. I'm glad to say people are signing up already, and we've got some nice threads on the boil.
Yeah.
And a big thanks to Uric as well for his help in getting all that together. Thank you, sir.
Oh, nice. Yeah, cheers, mate. Yeah, I haven't had a proper look at it yet. I just logged on, posted some filth, and vanished again, like the littlest hobo, you know.
You did the equivalent. You came in and weed in the corner, didn't you?
Yes, indeed, and then left.
Okay, let's get into today's story then. Shall we start with the publication history?
Indeedy. Right, Smith finished the story, Isle of the Torturers, on July the 31st, 1932, and envisioned it as a kind of companion piece to Empire of the Necromancers, which, yeah, you can see that. You can definitely see that. The two worked well together. Now, Smith subbed it to Weird Tales, and despite thinking that it would be an automatic no because of how grim it is, it was accepted and appeared in the March 1933 issue. He was paid $60 for the story. Was later reprinted. This is interesting here. Later reprinted by Christine Campbell Thompson for inclusion in Keep on the Light, which was part of the Not at Night series of anthologies over here in the UK. Now, Christine Campbell Thompson was a British horror writer who lived between 1897 and 1985, and is probably best known for curating that series of anthologies. But she was the first person to get H.P. Lovecraft, Clark Ashton Smith, and Robert E. Howard in print in the UK.
Wow.
So I don't know a lot about this woman, but hats off. I'm going to have to do some research into it because it's quite an interesting story here. I've got some little tidbits. She had 2 stories in Weird Tales herself, under the pen name Flavia Richardson. So
nice.
That was her pen name. She never I think she only published 1 story under her real name, and the rest was under various pseudonyms. So I think she's quite hard to pin down. But I'm going to have a delve into it because she was also an occultist and a close friend of Dion Fortune.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was a member of the Society of the Inner Light.
Wow.
Which was started by Fortune.
Yeah, I just finished not that long ago reading the Dion Fortune book, actually. So, yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, she was a real close friend of hers. Now, I found a copy of Keep on the Light. Do you want to have a guess at how much it goes for?
Oh, is it one of those eBay silly money kind of things? Is it?
750 quid.
Wow.
I'd love to have it though, because it also contains a favourite of yours, Rob. Robert E. Howard's Worms of the Earth.
Yeah. Oh, no, now we're talking.
Which was its first anthology appearance.
Wow, that's incredible. The name doesn't sound familiar to me at all, I have to say.
No.
I've read a couple of Dion Fortune books and obviously researched a lot of that occult history, but totally unfamiliar with that name.
Yeah. Now, by all accounts, Clark Asher Smith was fond of this story. He wrote to August Derleth on August the 2nd, 1932, talking about Farnsworth Wright. He says, he has not yet reported on my other tales. I am now adding the Isle of the Torturers to the list he has under consideration. I think it is the best of the summer's crop so far. It is a strange mixture of eeriness, grotesquerie, bright colour, cruelty, and stark human tragedy. I think that sums it up really nicely, doesn't it?
That's a very accurate assessment.
Now, while thumbing through Eccentric Impractical Devils, looking for other mentions of the story, there is some in passing, just the general, oh yeah, it got published. Oh yeah, Farnsworth Wright paid me this for it, that kind of thing. Now, I stumbled across this. It has nothing to do with Isle of the Torturers, but I'm reading it anyway because this made me laugh. Because, as I mentioned before, Clark Asher Smith and August Derleth liked bitching about things a lot. They really, really did. And this is class. Am I wrong in imagining that there has been an unusual amount of crap in the last 2 or 3 issues of Weird Tales? It looks as if a special bid for the morons was being made, with so many mediocre and uninspired rehashings of stock plots and superstitions.
Crap. That's not a word you kind of associate with that time, is it, really? Or those writers? What a load of crap.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the start. Yeah. Am I wrong in thinking there's been an unusual amount of crap in the last 2 or 3 issues of Weird Tales?
Oh, dear.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah. Tell them, don't hold back, Clark. Tell us what you really think.
As I say, as I alluded to at the beginning, my big surprise is that Farnsworth took this first go round, because out of all the Smith tales we've read, this certainly to me is the most graphic, the most grotesque. It's not really an action story, is it?
No, not really at all.
No, certainly no less or more an action story than, well, some of those things that Wright turned down. So, yeah, did he have a space that he needed to fill? And, there are other stories that he turned down because they were too gruesome.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? Yeah.
I can think this is one of the first Smith stories I've read where I've actively gone, ugh, that's really horrible. I mean, there's a lot of gruesome things happen in various stories, but this one is, well, we'll see as we get into it what it is.
I think in terms of prolonged, because, I mean, there's been bits in like Return of the Sorcerer, Death is an Elephant, and things like that. There's been like bits where you go, ugh, but they're kind of over and done with. Whereas this has got like 3 pages. It's
prolonged, isn't it? Yeah, well, it's usually the punchline, isn't it? The elephant steps on the guy's head.
Yeah, pops it like a melon.
Yeah, the head is banging on the door of the cupboard kind of thing. That sort of, but this is, as you say, horror upon horror.
Indeed.
So let's get into it then. Let's start with our favourite words. Not a huge amount for me.
No.
The language in this one, as we'll see, it's very colourful and very good, but not quite the same as some of the Hyperborea stories I've found.
You tend to see that. You tend to see that he keeps the more Baroque language for the Hyperborea and Averoigne stories, whereas Zothique and things like that tend to be more grounded, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I got a few good ones. The first one I'm going to go for is pythonomorphs. Awesome.
Yes.
Love it. Now, a pythonomorph is a classification or group within the evolutionary study of reptiles, specifically linking mosasaurs, which are extinct marine reptiles, with snakes. And the term originates from the hypothesis that these creatures share a close evolutionary relationship with serpents.
Oh, nice. Nice.
I've never heard pythonomorphs before, but I love it.
No, totally new to me as well. And another nice word that came off of that when I looked that up was one of these marine reptiles was known as the Pontosaurus.
Yes.
That's a great name. I'm a Pontosaurus.
Pontosaurus. Brilliant, isn't it? Sounds like something that terrorizes holiday camps.
Wearing a red coat.
Yeah.
There was a couple of words that I knew the meaning of but liked. I'm going to start with lapidaries, which, of course, lapidary is a gem polisher or cutter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm going to go with porphyry. There we go. Which is a large igneous rock containing crystals of feldspar in a fine-grained ground mass.
And my next one is engineries, which I thought that kind of sounds like I know what it is. It's actually quite specific. It refers to instruments of war. So I'm sort of thinking siege engines and that type of thing.
Yeah. I've got a couple more. Again, I knew what they mean, but I just like them. One of my favourites is actually cressets. Because it's something I use in my stories quite a lot. You know, they're bowls with fucking burning oil in it, fire.
Yeah.
But I didn't actually realise this when I was looking into the definition, that cressets mounted on the walls of Renaissance palaces are believed to be the world's first streetlights.
Ah, right. Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
And another word that I knew the meaning of, but I do like, is halcyon. Halcyon days, idyllic.
Yeah. Finally, I'm going to go with promulgate. Again, I knew it, but I like it. Which is put a law or decree into effect by official proclamation, or promote or make widely known.
And my final choice is adicopere. All I'm going to say is grave wax and leave it at that.
I think it's pronounced adiposia.
Oh, adiposia. All right. Yeah.
I think it's because adipose for fat and fat slippage when bodies are in water and things like that. Yeah. Adipose slippage. Yeah.
Grave wax.
Okay,
so we are back in Zothique. Well, I say back in Zothique. Zothique is in the far future. So we are in our dying Earth setting. And Zothique seems to be quite the haven for necromancers and the like, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. There's all these kind of ne'er-do-wells. But I like the fact that in the first line, we get mention of the Silver Death, which I think is a great name for a plague or something. Because, you know, you got the Mask of the Red Death, but the Silver Death, I like that.
It's an unusual one, isn't it? Because you get this aspect of, well, it's very fast moving. And yeah, I immediately thought Mask of the Red Death and that amazing opening scene and the ending scene in that film as well with the vivid colours.
Yeah.
That's a very Smithian film, I think, in some ways.
Oh, yeah.
I know it's a Poe story, but yeah, so this is fast moving. It put us in mind, of course, a bit of the Ice Demon from the other week. And this description of the people who were smitten felt an icy freezing cold, an instant rigour as if the outermost gulf had breathed upon them, their faces and bodies white and strangely gleaming with a wan lustre, and became stiff as long-dead corpses, all in an interim of minutes.
Yeah, it's quite a terrifying one, isn't it?
Very quick, isn't it?
Yeah. I like the thought behind it here, that astrologers think that this mysterious malady would descend from the great star Achenar. So it's kind of like a cosmic plague. Now, Achenar is the brightest star in Eridanus and the 9th brightest in the night sky overall. Until March 2000, Achenar and Fomalhaut were the two first magnitude stars furthest from each other, but also their nearest neighbour. So,
right. Well,
now, Fomalhaut.
Yes, that's popped up before, isn't it?
Yes, well, in the mythos, Fomalhaut is the home of Cthulhu.
Of course, yeah.
And I've used Cthulhu, so I've used Fomalhaut. In fact, I created a mythos tome called the Fomalhaut Geometries for Burning Reflection.
Yes.
Because that was all about numerology and reflection and geometry and all that kind of shit. So, yes. So I liked that nice little mixture because obviously Fomalhaut, Cthulhu, you associate with fire, but this seems to be associated with ice.
Yeah, so we've got those polar opposites, those extremes.
Yes, fire and ice. Yeah. It's nice. Little Easter egg.
And I also like the fact that swift as the desert wind, it overtook the very messengers who ran by night to give warning of its nearness. Again, that's very grim. The whole tone of this is grim in pretty much every detail, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, because you just get basically death, 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 torture, 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 death, death, death. That's basically how every page goes, right?
That's the revision notes.
Yes.
For this story. Yeah, so it kind of put me in mind of Pompeii as well.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point.
We get this marvellous line here. Diggers died in the half-completed graves they had dug for others, but no one came to dispute their possession. Isn't that wonderful?
Oh, isn't it? Yeah.
And we also get merchants lay in their counting houses on the heaped coins they had begun to reckon, and thieves, entering later, were unable to depart with their booty.
Nice.
So this is that nice Smithian touch that even though you've got this plague going on, the thieves are still in operation, right? What an opportunity. Everyone's dead. Let's nip in and, oh, shit.
It's that tremendous world building he does again, because you've got, like, he mentions here that the public carnivals just falling silent, merrymakers frozen in frolic attitudes. In proud mansions, wine-flushed revellers grew pale amid their garish feasts and reclined in their opulent chairs, still holding the half-emptied cup with rigid fingers.
Yeah. Again, that's very sort of Red Death, isn't it?
Very much.
And yeah, as far as the world building goes, we get the streets of Silpon and Siluar, and the setting where our story begins is in Farad, the capital of Euros. So, as we always say, just a few lines and a little splash of colour in here. We've got a sense of this whole world, the whole setting.
Yeah, he's really masterful at doing that. And obviously his names for his places and people are always great, because it's not like Dave, is it? You know?
Yeah, it's not sort of cod medieval, is it? You know,
no, Foldy Roldy Radu Day. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I mean, and here we have King Fulbra, who's the young king. It seems like he's not been on the throne for that long.
No.
His father is mentioned a little bit later on. So I have the impression this guy is almost maybe like teenage or just after teenage sort of age.
Kind of like a King Louis, Sun King kind of deal, right? Yeah, you know.
Fulbra had spent the night of the plague's advent on a high tower of his palace above Farad, an observatory tower equipped with astronomical appliances. A great heaviness had lain on his heart, and his thoughts were dulled with an opiate despair, but sleep was remote from his eyelids. He knew the many predictions that foretold the Silver Death, and moreover, he had read its imminent coming in the stars with the aid of the old astrologer and sorcerer, Vemdes. So I like this dulled with opiate despair. That gives us a hint that he's on a bit of gear there, isn't he?
Yes, indeed. Well, what are you going to do? You know, everyone's dying around you. It's just like, oh, fuck this, I'm going to get trashed.
Pass the pipe.
Pass the pipe. Yeah, I like that name, Vemdes. I feel like I should do a double act with them. Vemdes and Memdes. Like little and large. You know?
Oh, don't. No, there's a real horror. Saw them live once. We were on holiday, one of those seaside special shows. UK residents of a certain age will, I'm sure, remember with the same horror that I did.
Oh, God. End of the Pier. It was always in the Winter Gardens, weren't they, those shows? And it was always like Little and Large and Jim Davison or something. Just absolute, oh, no.
With the Jeff something dancers. Yeah.
Yeah, the Grumbleweeds. Do you remember them?
Honestly, sometimes I think I'd rather live in Zothique. But,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well, maybe not at this particular place and time in Zothique, because this does seem, this is a foretold doom, isn't it? We get quite a lot of information here. And Vemdes has cast the horoscope of Fulbra, and though he found therein certain ambiguities that his science could not resolve, it was nevertheless written plainly that the king would not die in Euros. So it seems that the king is going to be spared this plague somehow.
Well, yeah, to that end, he makes a magical ring, doesn't he? An enchanted ring that protects Fulbra from the Silver Death in all times and places. It's made of strange red metal, darker than ruddy gold or copper, and set with black and oblong gems, not known to terrestrial lapidaries. There we go. That lovely little word there. Yeah. It's quite ornate.
Yeah, I suppose anything in Smith, it's not going to be a plain sort of metal ring, is it?
No, it's not going to be a rose gold wedding band, is it? No.
It gives off an aromatic perfume as well, which I thought was interesting. That's not normally a property you associate with a magic ring, is it?
No.
So basically, as long as the king wears this ring on his middle finger, he is safe from the silver death. And I did like this. Vemdes did not tell the origin of the black gem and the red metal, nor the price at which the protective magic had been purchased. So you wonder what poor old Vemdes had to do in order to create this ring.
All these nefarious sorcerers and necromancers is probably, sacrificed a couple of virgins, a goat, and 3 chickens.
And then we get this lovely sequence where Fulbro is basically sitting there waiting as his subjects die around him. And we go from this, I think as you mentioned earlier, the streets are full of revelers and laughing and circuses. And it's like the lights going out one by one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Waiting anxiously on the high tower and watching the golden lights of Farad, rather than the pale implacable stars, he felt a light passing chillness that belonged not to the summer air. And even as it passed, the gay noises of the city ceased, and the moaning lutes faltered strangely and expired. A stillness crept on the carnival, and some of the lamps went out and were not relit. That reminded me of the Robert E. Howard note when he killed himself, of the feast is over, one by one the lamps expire. I'm not quoting it very well, but that same sort of feeling of the party's over and now the lights are going out one by one.
Well, it's a common trope in certainly in TV and things like that, where you get this cataclysm and you see it like a city and it'll like sweep through like a cloud or a storm, right? And people will just be frozen where they are and die. You see it in a lot of things. I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, totally. So that's the night. In the dawn, the king arises and goes down into his palace. Old Vemdes is among the dead, who had died even as he climbed to join his master. The wrinkled face of Vemdes was like polished metal and was whiter than his beard and hair, and his open eyes, which had been dark as sapphires, were frosted with plague. And all he finds alive are 3 slaves, who warded the green brazen portals of the lower vaults far beneath the palace. I guess we can speculate they survived because they were deep underground.
Yeah, the contagion didn't reach them. Yeah, that's the only thing I came up with, because they haven't got any protection or anything like that.
No.
So,
but he does kind of need these because Vemdes had advised him to seek shelter in the southern isle of Sintrom, which paid tribute to the kings of Euros. So I guess as an island, he thinks, well, I'm going to be safe there. You have to, I suppose from a modern eye, you think, is he going to carry it with him though? Although he's immune to his effects, is he going to be like a sort of carrier? Which, well, in effect is what he is, isn't it? As we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's what they do, isn't it? They basically just quickly, right, let's get the hell out of here.
And I love that they get on the royal barge of ebony that was moored at the palace porticos on the river Voom.
Nice.
And there's a lot of good colour use in this. Then, embarking with the slaves, he took the helm of the barge and directed the slaves to unfurl the broad amber sail, and past the stately city of Farad, whose streets were thronged with the silvery dead, they sailed on the widening jasper estuary of the Voom and into the amaranth-coloured gulf of the Indaskian Sea. Again, very evocative.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. See, this bit now, I'm getting real echoes of, like, Hodgson with this.
Yes.
This journey is very much like Hodgson's Sargasso stuff, because there's a lot of stuff in that about becoming becalmed or, blown off course and ended up in weird places with killer mushrooms. You know the drill with Hodgson. But, yeah, they set off with a favourable wind, and it all seems to be going quite well, but yeah, that isn't to last, is it?
Well, I think Smith was a fan of Hodgson, and I remember seeing a reference somewhere.
He was, yeah.
I can't remember if it's House of the Bald Land or the Nightlands, but Smith was praising one of those, so I wouldn't be surprised if there's some influence there. Also, this and something that happens later on put me in mind of Dreamlands as well.
Yeah.
Those voyages to Dreamers. And I thought what we have here is one of Smith's travels, isn't it? One of his travels from one place to another.
Yeah.
Which usually take place in a few lines.
Yeah.
Because someone is looking up at the star or they're looking through the telescope.
Drink a bottle of wine.
Yeah. And you get that disassociation of the senses and all that. This one actually takes a couple of pages. This is an actual voyage. So I thought that was interesting in that, as we say, whenever Smith does these travels or voyages, they're always very different from each other.
Absolutely. Yeah, none of them are the same, are they? Especially with the sensations, because some of them are falling, some of them are drifting, some of them are, this, that, and the other. But this is one of those that starts off quite hopeful, doesn't it? It's like, oh, right, we're getting away, we're going to go to this place, we'll be safe. And then that quickly turns to dread. Yes. And I think this is where the Hodgson comes in, right?
Mm-hmm. Then suddenly, and at high noon, there fell an airless calm, and the waters became as purple glass about the barge. The sky changed to a dome of beaten copper, arching close and low, and as if by some evil wizardry, the dome darkened with untimely night, and a tempest rose like the gathered breath of mighty devils, and shaped the sea into vast ridges and abysmal valleys. So this rather strange storm suddenly hits them.
Yeah, it snaps the mast like a reed in the wind, sail torn asunder. And yeah, it really does. This is exactly what I was talking about. Is this paragraph really reminds me of like The Voice in the Night and things like that by Hodgson, because that's something he did very well.
Yeah, it's that combination of like the Sargasso Sea thing, isn't it? It's suddenly and then a huge storm. Yeah, again, complete opposites, really.
Yeah, exactly.
So I suppose it does seem quite unnatural that you'd get those together. And there's another vessel spotted as well. I thought this was interesting. I sort of pictured, you go up on the top of the wave, you look over, there's a load of blokes on another ship going, oh, and then they disappear out of sight,
Yeah.
It could almost be humorous.
Yes, indeed.
So these ships are kind of drawn together by the storm until Fulbra sees ahead the sharp and somber crags of an unknown shore with sharper towers that lifted palely above them. So basically, they hit the rocks. They're beached, or they think they're going to hit the rocks, but somehow, just as they're about to, the storm suddenly dies away.
Yeah, they're sort of the sea fell abruptly in a windless calm, and quiet sunlight poured from a clearing sky, and the barge was left on a broad crescent of ochre yellow sand between the crags and the lulling waters, with the galley beside it. So yeah, there's a whole lot of what the fuck going on here, isn't there?
Yeah.
Just like, oh.
And as we get into the story, it seems quite clear that, well, he hints at it there, some evil wizardry that this storm is designed to bring the ships in. It sort of put me in mind of was it the wreckers they were called in Cornwall and places?
With the beacon fires. Yeah, the beacon fires and stuff. Yeah.
Draw you into the rocks, yeah. Because this is what happens now. These people come down and start thronging about the barge and the galley. They wore fantastic turbans of blood red and were clad in closely fitting robes of vulturine black. Their faces and hands were yellow as saffron. Their small eyes were set obliquely beneath lashless lids, and their thin lips, which smiled eternally, were crooked as the blades of scimitars. So here's where I thought in Dreamlands, the Carter story, the men of Leng on the galleys.
Yeah, the plateau. Yeah.
Now, one thing I felt slightly uneasy here, do we have a bit of this sort of Orientalism going on?
There's a little bit of that, yeah.
Yeah, because with the idea of torture as well and all that sort of thing.
I kind of saw them kind of like Thuggees or something like that. It's got to be a kind of influence, but yeah.
However, their speech is quite unexpected. Their speech was no less alien than their aspect. It was full of sharp and hissing sounds, and neither the king nor his slaves could comprehend it. But Fulbra bespoke the people courteously in the mild and mellow flowing tongue of Euros, and inquired the name of this island, whereon the barge had been cast by the tempest. And some of them understand him and respond in his own language, saying that the land was the Isle of Ukastrog. And it's a little foreshadowing bit, right? Then, with something of covert evil in his smile, this person added that all shipwrecked mariners and seafarers would receive a goodly welcome from Ildrak, the king of the isle. Now, that goodly welcome turns out to be goodly for Ildrak, but not for the other people.
Yeah, obviously Fulborough's heard of this place, right? Because he essentially cacks his pants right now, doesn't he? It's like the heart of Fulborough sank within him, for he had heard numerous tales of Ukastrog in bygone years, and the tales were not such as would reassure a stranded traveller. I think we've all done that when you go somewhere. Where am I? Oh, God, I've heard about this place. I don't want to be in this house in the state, you know. Where are you? Moss Side? Oh, crap.
He kind of bluffs it out, though, doesn't he?
Mm.
He leans into his kingly aspect and demands to be taken at once before King Ildrak. To King Ildrak, he would announce his name and royal rank, and it seemed to him, in his simplicity, that one king, even though cruel-hearted, would scarcely torture another or keep him captive. That's a bit of wishful thinking there, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
But is this that thing again? Because then he even says, oh, maybe these stories are all, you know, exaggeration, probably made up by travellers and that sort of thing. So we get that sort of pride again of, you know, there's something bad going on here, but it's probably all a load of nonsense, superstitious fluff.
It's that people, you know, discounting yokel knowledge again. Do so at your peril. Yeah.
Yes. So Fulborough and his slaves are taken to the palace of Ildrak, whose high sharp towers we saw earlier. And while they're climbing the hewn steps, this is very cinematic, I think, this one again.
Yeah, very.
So they're going up the steep steps in the cliff, and there's a loud outcry from below and a clashing of steel against steel. When Fulborough looks around, he sees that the crew of the galley that came in with him had drawn their swords and were fighting the islanders, but they're being overborne by the swarming torturers, and most of them were taken alive. Mm. So they'd rather fight and die than be taken alive by these people. They know what's in store.
Oh, absolutely. But you're saying about how cinematic this is. I mean, I'm getting the Harryhausen Sinbad kind of movies, that kind of color palette and that, you know, the very vivid reds and all this kind of stuff, right?
Yes. And there's a certain type of music going in the background.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe someone's dancing with a lot of vowels on and all that sort of thing. Yeah.
A gong.
yeah. There's announced by a gong.
Yeah. Technicolor. There we go.
So he's taken into the presence of Ildrak, who sat on a lofty brazen chair in a vast hall of the palace. And we get a very vivid description. Again, lots of colour here. We've got vermilion skirts. We've got breast cups of lazuli, huge basaltic columns, and these numerous engineries of wood and stone and metal. These are things with heavy chains and beds of iron teeth and cords and pulleys of fish skin. So I'm wondering if these are really war engines, or they sound more like racks or something like that.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Is it just that he in his mind, he just imagines that, oh, these must be war? Why would you have siege engines in a palace, you know?
Well, yeah, but it's that thing, you know. No, that's not for disemboweling. It's for carving the turkey, you know. That wishful thinking thing again, isn't it?
It's just to help stretch your spine. It's, you know.
It's an inversion table. People who've got sciatica. There we go.
So he gets to meet Ildrak, and Fulborough told Ildrak his name and station and the calamity that had caused him to flee from Yoros. And he mentioned also his urgent desire to reach the Isle of Sintram. It's a long voyage to Sintram, said Ildrak with a subtle smile. Also, it is not our custom to permit guests to depart without having fully tasted the hospitality of the Isle of Ukastrog. Therefore, King Fulborough, I must beg you to curb your impatience. We have much to show you here, and many diversions to offer. My chamberlains will conduct you to a room befitting your royal rank, But first, I must ask you to leave with me the sword that you carry at your side, for swords are often sharp, and I do not wish my guests to suffer injury by their own hand.
Just sinister bugger, really. Beautifully sinister.
This is, yeah, you can't, I'm thinking of sort of Flash Gordon as well type stuff, isn't it?
Ming the Merciless kind of thing, yeah. Kind of also reminds me of the Roger Delgado Master from Pertwee era Doctor Who, in that kind of very purring, very, I want you to be my guest, and
very cultured and refined and very well mannered.
Saturnine.
Yeah. Oh yes, because nothing he said here would give you cause for concern normally.
No.
But then you can put that other reading onto it, can't you? We can show you many diversions, have much to offer you.
Well, it's the bit about the swords are often sharp, and I do not want guests suffer injury by their own hand.
Yes. Yes.
That's a skin crawler, isn't it?
Well, yeah, because if you know what is coming, then you might just well take a little lean on your own sword.
Oh, yeah, this is it.
Spoil all their fun. And so the king is taken to his room, or to his chambers. As he's doing so, this is where he gets a little bit of hope, right? In one of these halls, Fulbrow and his guardsmen met a young girl, fairer and less sullen of aspect than the others. It seemed that she murmured faintly in the language of Euros, "Take heart, King Fulbrow, for there is one who would help you." And her words apparently were not heeded or understood by the guards, who knew only the harsh and hissing tongue of Ukastrog. So it seems like he's got a friend here on the inside. And then we get this room that is put in, which I think is, this is like Bond villain level stuff, isn't it? It's absolutely fantastic, this room, I think.
Yeah.
So it's a chamber that is walled on three sides with the dark stone of the island, and was walled on the fourth with heavy unbreakable glass. Beyond the glass he saw the blue-green glimmering waters of the undersea, lit by the hanging cressets of the chamber, and in the waters were great devilfish, whose tentacles writhed along the wall, and huge pythonomorphs with fabulous golden coils receding in the gloom, and the floating corpses of men that stared in upon him with eyeballs from which the lids had been excised. Oh,
yeah, this is full on Dr. No territory, isn't it?
Yeah. And you must come into this and you'd be looking around the first part. You think, oh, this is quite a nice room. We've got a nice couch there, and oh, what the?
Yeah, I want to know more about these devilfish with their wildly flailing tentacles.
I know, it's great, and the pythonomorphs with fabulous golden coils.
Oh, it's great.
And of course, the eyeballs with no lids. Now, what's happened there?
Oh, yeah.
That tells a little story, doesn't it?
So that's always one thing I always remember from, it was Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors, the one set in an asylum. And you don't see it. It's just somebody mentions that there was a previous patient in the room that Kristen's taken to, but he ended up dying. He ended up cutting off his eyelids with razor blades to stop himself from sleeping. And that always made me go, bleh. But like I say, it's one of those things, isn't it? You don't need to show it because it'll probably look crap. To just put that, because your brain will fill in the blanks and make it even more even more than it could ever
horrific.
Be.
Yeah. Puts me in mind of Shannon Deleu as well, that famous scene with the eyeball and the razor, right?
Ah, yes.
So the poor old king is sort of sitting here. They give him food and drink, but he doesn't touch those. And I like this, that he's lying with close shut eyes while the dead men and sea monsters peered in upon him. These things are watching him.
It's going to be a fitful night, isn't it?
Yeah.
Imagine like you wake up and you do that thing when you wake up and you're sort of half in dream, and there's a walloping great devilfish glaring at you through the window. Like, whoa!
Well, it kind of gets worse, doesn't it? The only thing that gets him through this is remembering the face of that girl who had spoken to him and think, oh, there's that little bit of hope. Mm-hmm. But when he wakes up, yes, we've got the devilfish, but also amid the floating corpses, he now beheld the flayed bodies of his own slaves, who, after being tortured by the island people, had been cast forth into the submarine cavern that adjoined his dungeon, so that he might see them on awakening.
Yeah.
So the torture has already started.
Yeah, so the guards come in now and see that he's not eaten or drank, so they basically force him to. He's got to keep his strength up for what's lying ahead, you know.
So we're back up to see the king, but this time it's in the Great Hall of Tortures. Every home should have one. The hall was crowded with the torturers and their women, and many seemed to look on while others, of both sexes, busied themselves with ominous preparations. And Fulbra saw that a tall brazen statue with cruel and demonian visage, like some implacable god of the underworld, was now standing at the right hand of Ildrak, where he sat aloft on his brazen chair. And this statue starts speaking to him, right? With strident and metallic tones. And this is terrifying. It's telling him in full and minute detail the various tortures that are going to be inflicted on him that day.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to start by pulling your nails out.
Exactly. That's it. I mean, but that's the torture's already began, right? Because once that's in your head. But that is that classic sort of Bond villain thing, isn't it? First, we will take you from this room and remove your fingernails. Then we will soak those fingernails in petrol. You know, yeah. Then we will stick a giant cucumber up your rectum, Mr. Bond.
This is the anticipation now, right? They are definitely, they know what they're doing, these people, don't they? Mm. Now, there's a couple of things here. One, this brazen statue, because we're in Zothique, I wondered if this was an image of Poseidon, who pops up in a lot of the Zothique stories, the Lord of Seven Hells. That is what that kind of brought to mind.
Yeah.
Another thing is, we're not going to get to it for a little while yet, but the story, The Dark Eidolon, the emperor in that, his favourite concubine is from Ukastrog.
Mm.
So there's a nice little reference back in a future story to the emperor's concubine. We can only speculate as to what they might have got up to. It's very S&M territory, this story as well, isn't it?
I was gonna say, yeah. His young concubine, from the Isle of Torturers. Oh, he likes the hanky spanky, does he?
I wonder what else Smithy was getting up to.
Exactly. Visiting the local Red Room.
What's the safe word? Oh,
yeah, exactly.
The Smithian safe word. You wouldn't be able to pronounce it.
Oh, the Smithian safe word.
Who can have a look at fuck you out? No. Who can that? No.
Smithian safe word. That's amazing.
Answers on a postcard, please, listeners.
Lovecraft's probably be gibbous, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Or
Cyclopean.
Yeah. Or something Cyclopean has just emerged. Yeah. And one other thing that this put me in mind of was Michael Moorcock's Elric stories, the Melnibonians, who are very much of this mindset as well. Torture and depravity is just part of their everyday life. And trying to think, there's not that many stories where you actually get scenes from Melnibone, but there's a few. And the ones that are, I don't know if Moorcock was drawing on Smith here or that sort of thing, but quite similar scenes.
Yeah, I've got another speculation about somebody who may have been influenced by this story. Well, I'll get to that later because I can't do it now because it'll spoil something.
Okay.
But, yeah.
And now I've got a question for you here as well.
Oh,
so the torture doesn't really, they're just warming up on this first day. They start with cacophonous sounds, with evil flutes that chill the blood, with deep drums that seem to ache in all his tissues, and thin tabors that wrenched his very bones. So it's subject to a lot of discordant noise to start with. They make him breathe in a lot of horrible stuff, including the dried gall of dragons. Then when the fire had died down, they freshened it with the oil of vampire bats. I wanted to know, is that like oil of Ulay for goths?
If it isn't, it should be. I moisturise with the oil of vampire bat. I bet somebody's said that at some point.
I hope so.
Probably an Instagrammer called Morticia von Raven or something.
Something original.
Yeah.
So that's the warm-up. We've got sound and smells to start with.
I was going to say, though, that the sounds and everything, the cacophonous noises and stuff, that sounds like a fun night in to me.
I was thinking Tom Waits, actually, or The Residents, perhaps.
I was thinking like Current 93, Test Department. Einstein the Neubauten.
There you go. There you go. I hope that's on the bingo. If not, it should be added.
Yeah.
Of course, at some point, Fulbra swoons. So they sort of leave him for a bit. They're in no rush, are they, these people?
No.
The next thing they do is strip away his kingly vestments and fasten about his body a silken girdle that had been freshly dipped in an acid corrosive only to human flesh. He acidates slowly, fretting his skin with infinite fiery pangs. Oh,
I know. That's a grim one, isn't it? That.
Yeah. Well, you think whereabouts it's fastened around his body as well. It's not over his shoulders, is it? It's a girdle.
No, a girdle.
That's like sunburn factor.
Yeah. The next is like this is great. After removing the girdle, the torturers brought in certain creatures that had the shape of eel-long serpents, but were covered from head to tail with sable hairs like those of a caterpillar. These creatures twined themselves tightly about the arms and legs of Fulbra, and though he fought wildly in his revulsion, he could not loosen them with his hands, and the hairs that covered their constringent coils began to pierce his limbs like a million tiny needles. Oh, you ever done that? You pick up one of those furry caterpillars, or them cacti with the little wispy hair. Oh, man. Yeah.
Well, I had an experience with caterpillars, funnily enough, when I lived in East London. We're quite a small garden at the back, sort of terraced house type garden. And there was a small tree at the bottom. I'm not sure what tree it was. It might have been a cherry tree or something like that.
Yeah.
And I went out one day and it was absolutely covered in caterpillars. I'd never seen anything like it before or since. I mean, it was like a Lovecraftian entity, thousands of these things, and I sort of went back in and shut the door.
Did you see that pictures I took in the spring? I went up to some manor house just outside of Worthing. There was like a gardens there, Forum Gardens, and there was a tree just covered in it, and they were coming down in ropes, like ropes of gossamer, and there was like coils of these caterpillars. It was absolutely stunning. I thought it was beautiful, so I'm there taking pictures, and you got like young couples coming up and going running off. I'm like, come on, caterpillars, man!
It's nature, man. It's nature.
Yeah.
So while all this is going on, King Ildrak and his people looked on with a dreadful gloating, for in such things they took their joy and strove to pacify an implacable, obscure desire. I don't know if it's that obscure, really, but there we go. So they give him a rest. They take him back to his dungeon, to his room with the view. And this is where the hope is kindled again, because he's thinking, well, perhaps the girl who's going to come and release him is going to escape. I suppose in most action stories, that's what would happen. But I thought also that's a nice inversion, because normally it's the hero will rescue the woman, blah, blah, blah. So I thought this is a nice inversion of potentially the female serving girl who's going to rescue the king. Doesn't quite work out like that, but,
Well, this is where, because obviously, yeah, he thinks that she's going to rescue him, but it's all part of the torture, right? Yeah, I wonder if George R. R. Martin had read this, because in Game of Thrones, you have that whole thing with Theon Greyjoy and the Boltons, right? The Boltons are basically this depraved lot, Ramsay Bolton especially. They're into torture and all this kind of stuff, right? Very similar setup. He's taken, but there's one of Ramsay's concubines takes a shine to him, and she's doing the same thing. I'll get you out, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So he does escape, they hunt him down, chase him back, and then again, and that's when he ends up getting his knob cut off. And I'm like, dude, have you've basically taken the plot of this for that whole setup.
Yeah, it's very true, actually. I did have something in the back of my mind about that, but yeah, that's exactly it, isn't it? And it is exactly that.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Surely George R. R. Martin is familiar with Smith. He must be, I would have thought so.
I would have thought so.
Yeah, interesting to speculate. But the girl does turn up here. We find out her name is Ylva, and she says she's got this plan. She's going to drug the guards, get the keys. There's a hidden cove and a boat and all the usual things you'd expect. And she caressed his feverish brow and rubbed his torture-burning limbs with soothing ointment. And it seems that her mother was a woman of Euros who had married one of the evil islanders, choosing this repugnant union as an alternative to the flaying knives of Ildrak, which is, again, quite grim. And that part could well be true, really, couldn't it?
No, yeah. Yeah.
So he gets some hope and some relief at night from his pains. But of course, at dawn, the guards are back again with their hooked weapons and is led up before Ildrak and the brazen statue, which once again gives him a nice little menu of what's going to happen today. At 9:30, we're going to break your toes. Then we'll have brunch. Followed by
1300 hours. Flagellation.
Oh, and we've got the other captives there as well, including the crew and merchants of the galley. So there's some more victims awaiting the malefic ministrations of the torturers. Malefic ministrations.
Oh,
marvelous.
That sounds like a black metal album, doesn't it?
Doesn't it? The girl is there and she presses close to him and murmurs words of comfort. So again, this kindles a little spark of hope in his heart. And indeed, a bold and hopeful heart was required to endure the ordeals of that day. So here we go. Eyes down, look in for our second round of torture, starting with a mirror of strange wizardry, wherein his own face was reflected as if seen after death. The rigid features as he gazed upon them became marked with the green and bluish marbling of corruption, and that withering flesh fell in on the sharp bones and displayed the visible fretting of the worm. So, as I said, this is really quite explicit, isn't it, this story? He doesn't hold back on any of the descriptions.
Oh, yeah.
And we get the dolorous groans and cries of his fellow captives, and he sees their faces in the mirror as well. Then he realizes they're not actually in the mirror, they're behind him. They're being reflected in the mirror. It's just quite a weird shift in perception, I think. And I would imagine by this time your perception is a little bit frayed around the edges anyway.
Oh, it will be, yeah. Delirium.
His own slaves turn up as well. The slaves came toward him with glaring eyes that saw only the voidness of death. And beneath the sorcerous control of Ildrak, their evilly animated corpses began to assail Fulbra, clawing at his face and raiment with half-eaten fingers. And Fulbra, faint with loathing, struggled against his dead slaves, who knew not the voice of their master and were deaf as the wheels and racks of torment used by Ildrak. So it's taken a kick in from zombies as well. That's the highlight of this morning's activities.
Taking a kick in from zombies, I love it.
And now this one, this bit, this is really quite disgusting. Picture this, dear listener. You're stripped and laid supine on the floor with iron rings that bound him closely to the flags at knee, wrist, elbow, and ankle. Okay, so we're laying on the floor, we're chained to the floor, naked. Then they brought in the disinterred body of a woman, nearly eaten, in which a myriad maggots swarmed on the uncovered bones and tatters of dark corruption. And they lay that down next to him. So that's kind of unpleasant enough, right? You've got this reeking corpse laying next to you that's writhing with life.
Mm-hmm.
On the other side, they put the body of a black goat that's quite fresh, or newly touched with beginning decay, as Smith describes it.
Yes.
So it's got the writhing corpse on one side, the fresh corpse on the other side, and of course the maggots go from one to the other across him.
All the maggots.
In a long and undulant wave. Oh my God. And we're not even reached lunchtime yet.
That is grim, isn't it? No.
So, yeah, I think even Smith kind of draws a veil at this point, doesn't he? Because now he just says, after the consummation of this torture, there came many others that were equally ingenious and atrocious and were well designed for the delectation of King Ildrak and his people.
Yeah.
And Fulbra endured the tortures valiantly, upheld by the thought of Ilvar. So I suppose there's a double torture here in that hope is keeping him going, whereas you might give in to despair. You can't will yourself dead as such, but it's probably less fun if someone is totally almost comatose.
Yes. Yeah.
And just accepting of what is happening, and that's it, rather than they still have that, they've still got a bit of life in them.
Oh, yeah. I mean, her part in this is one of the most devious tortures, because she's there purely to give him hope, which, gives him life. Yeah, because as we see, like in a moment, as soon as that hope is extinguished, what's he going to do?
Yep, exactly. Yeah, he's got a way out, hasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
So Ilvar doesn't come to him that night, and is a little bit despondent about that, but he refuses to doubt her. He thinks, oh, perhaps she's just been delayed or prevented. So begins the third day. Once again, we're in front of that bloody statue that's telling him he's going to be bound on a wheel of adamant, and they're going to make him drink a drugged wine that would steal away his royal memories forever and would conduct his naked soul on a long pilgrimage through monstrous and infamous hells before bringing it back to the Hall of Ildrak and the broken body on the wheel. So we're now going beyond the physical torture into, I suppose, what we could call sort of spiritual torture, really. Spiritual torment.
Absolutely. Yeah, and lo and behold, Ilvar is the one who turns up with the golden cup with the drugged wine. And he realizes he's been duped.
Yes, and laughs in his face, basically.
Yeah. Mocked him for his folly and credulity in trusting her promises. And the other women and the male torturers, even to Ildrak on his brazen seat, laughed loudly and evilly at Fulbra. And yeah, basically, well done, Ilvar. The nice one, girl. You got him good. Fucking hell.
So Fulbra's absolutely no hope now. The brief, piteous love that had been born amid sorrow and agony perished within him, leaving but ashes steeped in gall. Yet, gazing at Ilvar with sad eyes, he uttered no word of reproach. He wished to live no longer, and yearning for a swift death, he bethought him of the wizard ring of Vimdes, and of that which Vimdes had said would follow its removal from his finger. So, as we mentioned before, it is likely that he is carrying the silver death, just that the ring is nullifying its effect. So his logic now is, if I take the ring off, the silver death hits me and hopefully every other bastard in this palace.
Yeah. But obviously he's tied up, so he's got to be cunning about this to get the ring off. And I think this is quite well done here, because his answer to this conundrum is to basically go, oh, you can take my memories if you like, but don't take my ring. That means the most to me, It's clever.
He plays them, doesn't he, like a fiddle here? It's the old double bluff kind of thing. Yeah, no, please.
Yeah.
And he really carries this off as well, because the king is straight up and, hang on, don't give him the drink. Let me have a look at this ring. And all the while, Fulbra cried out against him in a frenzy, as if fearing that he would take the ring. So he really hams this up.
Oh, yeah.
Off comes the ring, and it comes off easily from the shrunken finger. And Ildrak, wishing to mock the royal captive, placed it on his own middle digit.
I like this on the middle digit. Giving people the finger.
There's an implication there, isn't there? I don't think that's accidental.
No, probably not. No, in Smith. Yeah.
And surely enough, the silver death hits Fulbra. The silver death that had slept so long in his body beneath the magical abeyance of the ring of Vemdes was made manifest even as he hung on the adamantine will. His limbs stiffened with another rigour than that of agony, and his face shone brightly with the coming of death, and so he died. But of course it doesn't stop there, does it? Because this is highly contagious and it's fast. Yeah. So you can imagine these torturers all standing around going, oh, he's died. Is it me, or is it getting a bit chilly in here?
Then they just start dropping like flies, right?
Yeah. And again, this was Mask of the Red Death. I think back to that scene in the film where the death is going through the crowd, isn't it? And they're reeling away from him with the blood on the faces. But of course, Ildrak has got the ring on, right? So he's immune. He's all right. But this is a nice irony here, because he thinks the very thing that is protecting him is what has caused all this.
It's the cause of it, yeah.
So what does he do? He rushes out, standing in the early sun on the palace terrace above the sea. He tears the ring of Vemdes from his finger and hurls it to the foamy billows far below, thinking, oh, well, that sorted that out. And it ends with this. So Ildrak, in his turn, when all the others had fallen, was smitten by the silver death. and its peace descended upon him where he lay in his robes of blood-brightened purple, with features shining palely to the unclouded sun. And oblivion claimed the isle of Uckerstrog, and the torturers were one with the tortured.
It's definitely got an element of one of his comedy cruels, hasn't it? It's
yeah. I mean, I suppose the twists in it we can kind of see coming, or we might think perhaps.
Yeah.
But even so, they're handled so nicely, and there's
Yeah.
I just love that other little twist at the end where don't take my ring, let's take it. But then the fact that the only thing protecting Ildrak is what he's going to get rid of. There's a nice irony in that.
Yeah.
And also the fact this is life full circle. Whether you're a torturer or tortured, we all end up in the same place.
That's it. It's the empire of the worm.
The conqueror worm.
The conqueror worm. The worm conquers all. Yeah.
So yeah, outstanding story, I think. Top tier Smith.
Oh yeah, classic. Absolutely classic.
I'd be interested to know how this was received by the readers of Weird Tales, actually, because, as I say, it seems to me that Farnsworth either says this has got too many words for my readers, or no, they're too delicate for this kind of stuff.
Mm.
And in this, there's not really a lot of action. There's a sword fight at one point, I suppose, on the beach. That's about it. Everything else is happening to one person and is extremely gory and graphic. Makes no sense.
No, I can't fathom what goes through the mind of Farnsworth Wright, with his editorial choices. It just changes with the weather, doesn't it? We've seen this time and again.
Yeah. And in fact, HPL pointed to this as well. We have one comment in Dawnwood Spire, Lonely Hill. This is a letter dated early August 1932. And is there a return address, I hear you ask? Of course there is. Shumath Goon, hour of the flight of the bat toward the Black Nebula.
Oh my God. Oh, you were auditioning for fucking Evil Dead or something, Klaatu.
I'm available for voiceover work for I'm not sure what. But, yeah.
Brilliant.
Dear Clark Ashton, the Isle of the Torturers is great, and I ardently hope that Wright will take it in spite of the realistic details which might raise doubts in his milk and water judgment. It is full of magnificent atmosphere and has a truly Dunsanian glamour and convincingness. Thanks abundantly for the glimpse, and I hope to reread it in unmangled printed form later on.
Nice.
So, yeah, again, is Wright going to take this? Milk and water judgment.
I like that. That's nice. But it's interesting, isn't it? Because it's like other stories that Wright has taken, but only after heavy edits. But it doesn't seem like there was any edits done to this. He just took it as is on spec, which is baffling to me.
It really surprised me, especially that scene with the body and the goat.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd think if you put that in a film any time up to the 1980s, maybe even the 90s, there'd be some discussion about that, wouldn't there?
Oh, yeah. Oh, there would in the 80s. The Mary Whitehouse would be throwing a fit over that.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been implicated, but to show that as clearly as he described it there, the Daily Mail would be banging on about that, wouldn't they, or something?
Yeah, and the Parents-Teacher Council and the PTC and the bloody Mary Whitehouse and all that lot.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of an equivalent scene in a film, and nothing readily springs to mind. I know we've got that whole sort of torture porn type genre. Saw, not really my cup of tea, to be honest.
No, not really my cup of tea. But I mean, before that, you had things like Guinea Pig, didn't you? Japanese torture porn movies like Guinea Pig, Flowers of Flesh and Blood, and things like that.
Yeah.
Which it just it's just torture porn. There's no real plot to it, kind of thing. But yeah, not really my cup of tea. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of the nearest comparison I can think of.
Yeah, so very interesting. We shall never know, I suppose, why Wright chose one thing and not another.
It's bonkers, isn't it? I do wonder sometimes if it is as simple as what you alluded to earlier. Length.
It's got 10 pages to fill.
I've got space for a 3,500 word story. Bang, there we go.
Yeah. because I don't think we've come across a story yet that you and I wouldn't publish from Smith. Even some of the ones that we'd call his lesser works, you'd still put that in an anthology, wouldn't you? Know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So there we are, dear listener, the Isle of the Torturers. As always, please do let us know your thoughts. Gruesome enough? Too gruesome? What do you think? I'll be interested to hear people's views on that. And before we finish today, we're just going to check the mailbag. We've had a few misses in over the past few weeks. And we're going to start with our old pal Mark Griffin from the 30 Plus Minutes with H.P. Lovecraft podcast. As I'm researching J. Vernon Shea, a member of the Lovecraft Circle usually regarded as the terrible old man, probably because of his tell it like it is remarks, I came across an essay he wrote about the Lovecraft Circle, which originally appeared in the Nyctalops fanzine, November the 12th, 1976. And here is the quote. Clark Ashton Smith is probably more likely to be remembered for his poetry and his translations of Baudelaire than for his stories. He was a versatile man who might have won considerable fame for his sculpture and his drawings if he had only taken the trouble to learn his crafts more thoroughly. End of quote. Looks like you guys are proving sheer wrong. Keep it up, Mark. Thank you, Mark. Well, it's an interesting point of view. And we've mentioned those Baudelaire translations a few times, right? Particularly in the bonus episodes.
Oh, yeah. Well, we've actually read one of them as well.
Yeah. And they were certainly very good compared to some of the other translations that were around, because Smith understands romantic poetry.
Absolutely. Next up, we have a message from Jacob King on Patreon. The Ice Demon, Great Yarmouth Waxworks, was used as the location of a series finale of the Magnus Archive. Are you familiar with that?
No.
Neither am I.
I'll have to check that. We mentioned Waxworks in the Ice Demon story because we had the king and his evil wizard and entourage trapped in the ice, and I said it reminded me of the braiding house of wax on the Isle of Wight, which we were talking about previously. One of those sort of tableaus. Yeah, and I think as you said, wasn't it, the Great Yarmouth one was truly.
Oh my God! Yeah, Uncanny Valley. I think was it Louis Tussauds or something? It's it is. It's absolutely just a nightmare fuel, pure nightmare fuel. Yeah, just looking into this, the Magnus Archives is a supernatural horror fiction podcast written by Jonathan Sims, distributed by Rusty Quill. I'm not familiar with that at all. I'm going to have to look into this.
Yes, yeah, we'll take a look at that.
Yeah, it ran for 200 episodes from March 2016 to March 2021.
Thanks for that, Jacob. You're giving us something new to look at as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
And on YouTube, also referring to the Ice Demon episode, Rambam 3000 writes, another thing this glacier reminds me of, the Fellowship fleeing Caradhras at the point where Gimli looks back and shouts, enough, we are leaving as quickly as we can, as if Caradhras consciously drove them off his territory. Yeah, that's a very good observation, that one. It is almost like the mountain is alive, isn't it? And that.
Yeah, something I thought about after we'd recorded that. I don't know if I mentioned at the time, but it does kind of put me in mind of Pugmire's Sesqua Valley, the mountain there, Mount Setna, because that's described as a demon with big wings and all that, innit? And all the rest of it. So I wonder if Pugmire was kind of inspired by that at all.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've ever had that feeling, but if you're ever in a place, I was in Geneva last year, and you can't miss the mountains. Obviously, you're right up in the middle of the Alps. And it is almost like, well, it's a physical presence, obviously, because it's a fucking great big mountain.
Yeah.
But it's beyond the physical presence. It's almost like it's watching you sometimes. You know, maybe that's just me.
Were you perchance on the Lake Geneva shoreline?
Hey, I was. Yeah, we've just gone down with the mobile.
I was going to say, did you not have much time?
I had enough time to visit the Mary Shelley holiday home.
Oh yes, I saw your
good.
pictures from that. Yeah.
And of course, I got the picture. They got the Frankenstein creature statue in the town square in Geneva. Yeah, lovely place actually. Very nice place. Hopefully, I'm going back next year.
Nice. Ding, 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 ding. Finally, I just want to welcome our new patrons. We've had a couple join us. We have Christopher, Rick Kneebone, and Steve Grant. Thank you very much, people. And if you want to join us, look into it because we greatly appreciate it and it helps us spread our tentacles near and far.
Indeed, it does. And of course, when you sign up on our Patreon page, you get access to bonus content for Strange Shadows and the Innsmouth Book Club. You get a quarterly PDF copy of Innsmouth News and free entry to any events we organise, such as the Innsmouth Literary Festival. And in fact, we've already started planning for 2026. We've got potentially, obviously we can't say anything too much at the moment, some extremely interesting guests lined up for that.
Absolutely.
So what are we looking at next time, sir?
Next time, we are back into science fiction territory by the looks of things, with a story that I think I recall seeing the name, but I don't think I've ever read it. It's called The Dimension of Chance. Okay, that's it for today, folks. Thanks for listening. Do keep in touch. Let us know your thoughts. If you get the chance, please do pop over to the Innsmouth Forum. Of course, you can share your thoughts there about the podcast and any other weird imaginings you might be having. Any ideas for disgusting tortures? No, maybe don't put those on there. Keep those to yourself. No. We don't want to get flagged at this early stage, do we? On that disquieting note, it's goodbye from me, Rob Python. And it's goodbye from me, Tim Mendes.